You know, being a fire lookout actually seems like a pretty sick job at first. I mean, no customers, free food, and you only have to work like, what, 2 minutes a day? I mean, that sounds kinda lit. But what if your first night on the job, some freaky-ass alien crashed into Earth and started turning people into these super jacked meat puppets to track down pieces of its space rock? What are you gonna do then, huh? Well, don't worry, because I'm here to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the forest freaks in Lookout. It all starts with this dude Ethan just hiking through the woods one ordinary morning. The birds are chirping, the sun is shining. I mean, it seems like a pretty good day for a hike, but that's when he notices something pretty strange. He ends up coming across this campsite where it looks like they must have gotten attacked or something, and as he's looking around for the owners, he spots this dude all tied up to a tree. When he gets closer, he notices that this guy is all covered in this weird blue slime. And then, out of nowhere, the dude spits out this bizarre alien sludge that jumps straight into Ethan instead. Alright, now I don't know what this dude Ethan was thinking here, but he must have had a big glass of stupid juice for breakfast or something.
I'd like to order the stupid burger. Last time I ordered it here, they forgot to add the sauce that makes you stupid.
'Cause that was just crazy. And honestly though, he should have noticed there was something weird about this campsite from the jump, but it's not for the reasons that you might think. Now obviously it looks like there was some kind of fight, like the tent's all messed up, stuff's all over the place, so you might think it was probably like a bear or maybe Bigfoot, but here's the problem. The cooler is still perfectly fine, and that just doesn't add up, because if it was a bear, then the food would have been the first thing that it went for. And then you look at the tent and realize there's no claw marks, footprints, no blood, nothing. And if it was a wild animal, all that stuff is what you would see all over the campsite. But that's not even the worst part, because the first thing that Ethan should have noticed was their archery target. That means at least one of these campers had a bow, and it looks like they were pretty accurate. So if even that didn't help them, then what the hell am I supposed to do? That's when I would notice this dude tied to a tree, and after all of those red flags, I'm already getting hella sus. I don't know what he did to end up like this, but either he did something really bad to deserve it, or there's another dangerous type of people around who could come back at any second. Plus he's all covered in blue slime, like what the is up with that? So now, as soon as I noticed this dude, the last thing I'm doing is running right up to him like some kind of good citizen. Like first, I'm gonna just stop dead in my tracks and go, hey, you good? Then I'm taking out my phone, snapping a few photos of the scene, and getting the hell up out of there before I end up in the same boat. I mean, obviously I'll call for help once I get some service, but I'm not a doctor, a scientist, or even a freaking park ranger, so genuinely, what the hell am I supposed to do for this guy if I stick around? Like, we're better off if I survive long enough to send the cops in our direction. So instead of trying to handle this myself, I'll just do the smart thing and let somebody else deal with it instead. And then I won't end up like Ethan here with some kind of alien slime infecting my brain on the ground. Now you're probably wondering where this alien thing is even from. Well, we end up cutting back to 3 days earlier, where we find this park ranger Melissa whipping it down the road in her little dune buggy. She's running late to her new post, so she's moving kind of quickly, and this entire time this dude Jake won't stop blowing up her phone. But as she's texting him back, she almost plows right into this random hunter who's just chilling in the middle of the road. Well, the ranger pulls over all mad like it was his fault, but when she starts looking for the guy, he's nowhere to be found. So she just goes back to the whip and starts checking to see if she ran him over, I guess. But then this dude just comes strolling up behind her without even saying a word. She turns around, all shocked to see him there, and starts giving this dude an earful for standing in the road. Like, yeah, how about you stop texting and speeding, Ranger Ricky Bobby? But whatever. The weird thing is, this dude just stands there not answering a single question until just as the ranger's starting to get creeped out, these other two hunters just come strolling out of the trees. The boss says that his name's Dale, and the dude blocking traffic is his boy Skeeter. And when Melissa notices that they're all carrying bows, she immediately gets suspicious that they're hunting off-season. But the dude swears that they're just out there practicing and says that the bows are just for self-defense. And since she's got no proof that they're actually up to anything, the ranger decides to just let them go. Jumping back in the whip, she heads over to this gate somewhere down the trail where she has to get out and open it up. Everything seems normal at first, but while she's closing the gate, some kind of weird interference starts taking over the radio. This is when she looks up to see those hunters from earlier, and all of a sudden they just start flooring it straight towards her. But they stop just before they get to the gate, and after grilling her down for a while, they finally get back up and drive away. Weird. By now, she's really late, but she finally makes it to the lookout tower where she's going to be chilling for the next month. She's replacing this kid named Billy, who seems like he's in a pretty big rush to get out there. Now on his way down, he gives her a super quick rundown of what she'll have to do, and he warns her that their boss, Captain Edgewood, absolutely hates it when people are late, so she's off to a pretty bad start. Alright, yeah, I don't know about you guys, but you couldn't pay me enough to do this job. I'm pretty sure the Wi-Fi sucks out here. And at first, it might seem pretty chill. I mean, you get to be out here in nature, though. Only have to do about 6 or 7 minutes of actual work a day, and the rest of time you can pretty much just do whatever you want. Sounds like we getting a lot of platinum trophies in the interim, if you dig me. But that's when I'd remember that this place is pretty much just a cabin in the woods, but taller. And you guys already know how I feel about that scenario. Out here in the woods, you can run into anything. Bears, cults, dudes with machetes, you name it. And normally you'd have at least a meat shield or two around, but Melissa's gonna be completely alone for the next 30 days. And since this place is so far out in the woods, it's gonna take forever for someone to get there if she has to call for help. Which brings us to the first problem, those creepy hunters that she ran into on her way out. At first, these dudes seemed innocent enough, right? There's nothing illegal about 3 bros just going camping. But then things got a little weird. I mean, first of all, literally speeding right at somebody in a giant truck is not just a prank, bro. It's a threat. And not only that, it tells us that these dudes were following her. And now they know exactly where she's going. So yeah, me personally, I'm not gonna be too happy about that. Now, my number one strategy here would be to just find a different job. But if I was Melissa, then I already know exactly what I would do here. Because remember, she's basically a cop. So if I was already sus that these guys might be hunting off season and then they almost try to run me over, I would just call it in and report them to the station. And that should pretty much solve the problem right then and there. All the other rangers are gonna do is go out there and check them out. And worst case scenario, I would at least have some meat shields around if things go south. So that is step number 1. After that, the next thing I'm gonna do is make sure all the lights, the radio, and my phone are fully charged. That way I know I'm good for the night. Pack an emergency bag with a flashlight, map, some water, and a weapon in case I have to dip in a hurry. And before I go to bed, I'll just tie off the hatch with some rope and tie some empty cans to it. That way I'll know if anyone's trying to break in, and then I'll be Gucci, man. So after Billy takes off, Melissa climbs all the way up the tower and decides to take a quick photo of the view. It only takes her a few minutes to unpack her things and settle in, but once that's done, she already starts feeling bored again. So she decides to go outside and bring up some supplies. Overall, it's a pretty boring way to start the day, but when 9 a.m. comes around, it's time to check in, but she realizes that Billy didn't charge the radio. So she's gotta run all the way down and fire up the generator, and sure enough, the generator needs gas, and by the time that she's finally able to get it started, she's already running around 5 minutes late. Well, obviously the captain's not too happy, and he starts just absolutely roasting her until she forgets why she even called. But just as she starts getting it together, a freaking bird crashes through the window, and she ends up having to start all over. So, after a rough start, she heads back down to bury this bird, and she randomly decides to take a picture of it before she does, okay, weirdo. Then she goes back up and just kind of hangs out until 5 p.m. when she has to check in for the second time. But this time, everything goes smooth, and the captain is all chill. Later on, she's hanging out in the tower when Ranger Roy from Blue Mountain calls to introduce himself. It sounds like he's been doing this job for a while, and he tells Melissa to switch stations so that they can chat. He's pretty happy to hear from somebody new, because I guess that dude Billy wasn't much of a chatter, but this guy Roy loves the job so much he actually stays out there for 3 months at a time. And after finding out that Melissa actually volunteered for the job, he can tell she's definitely out there for some personal reasons. But they decide to call it a night and save that topic for another day. Now it's after dark and Melissa pops her headphones in as she falls asleep. But just as she closes her eyes, this big green meteor suddenly falls out of the sky and hits the ground not too far from the tower. And that's when things start getting a little weird. The next morning, Melissa wakes up early and starts her day off like normal. She does a little yoga, goes for a jog around the tower, all that kind of stuff. But then she decides that it's time for a shower. And since there's no running water, that means she's got to use the portable one they've got hanging from a tree. She heads downstairs and starts washing up, but she's only been there for a minute when she hears someone coughing from somewhere nearby. And getting creeped out, she grabs her stuff and runs back up the tower, never realizing that dude Skeeter is actually watching her. All right, so this right here, it's where I draw the line. I mean, just look at how isolated this place is right now. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. Actually in the middle of nowhere. But you're just gonna tell me that someone just so happened to be walking by that exact minute I was taking a shower? I'm not buying it. The only possible explanation here is that someone is stalking me. So the way I see it is I've got one of 2 ways to respond here. The first is just to call up the captain and tell him I'm donezo, which is probably the safer bet. But if that's not an option, then I'm just gonna have to handle this myself. old school. I can't exactly call for backup yet because I think I heard someone cough isn't really an emergency. But what I can do is call Roy and let him know what the hell going on, twin. Ring him up and be like, hey, I heard some weird shit in the woods and I'm going to go check it out. And if he doesn't hear back from me in a few hours, then he'll know to call for help. Then I'm going to pull an Uno reverse on these dudes and start looking for them instead. Fortnite Battle Royale. And I'm gearing up with anything that I need, like a camera, binoculars, a flashlight, a notebook, all that kind of stuff, and obviously some kind of weapon, just in case there's any cowboys out there. Then I'm gonna head off down the trail like I'm just going for a hike. But as soon as I hit a bend, I'm dipping into the woods and hitting a quick U-ey. That way I'll be able to see if anyone follows me. But if I'm in the clear, then I'm gonna double back and head over to where I heard the cough. But this time I'm gonna sneak up on it from a different angle. That way I might catch this dude slipping if he's still there. Otherwise, I'm gonna search the spot for any signs of human activity, like shoe prints, garbage, that kind of shit, and try to pick up this guy's trail and start tracking him back to wherever the hell he came from. Then I'll be able to figure out who's creeping on me and what they want, and I can decide if I just want to wait for backup or get the hell out of there while I still can. All right, you guys, are you tired of your busted asshole headphones? Well, new year, new headphones, am I right? And if you're like me, you only want the best headphones out there. What are those headphones, you ask? Well, today's sponsor, Raycon. Now, I've been on the Raycon train for years, and I can't even cap you down, twin. Their newest headphones are so dope. The Essential Open earbuds are an absolute game changer. Now, your traditional earbuds block out everything, like your dog barking to warn you about an intruder, your kid screaming because one lit the kitchen on fire, all silenced. But with open ear design, you not only can hear the world around you, but you can hear your music as well. These lightweight headphones freaking rock. They sit snugly on your head, and their soft ear hooks rotate to actually stay on top of your head. I wear them while I work out, go on walks, and even while I'm editing, just in case little Kilo barks at me to take him outside. But seriously, these things freaking rock. With 36 hours of battery life, I have to charge them like maybe once a week. Oh yeah, and they got that multi-point Bluetooth connection, which means that I can connect up to multiple devices and hop seamlessly between them without any hassle. That's player. 3 million Raycon fans can't be wrong. And if you want to get in on the action, head on over to the link in the description. And did I mention they have a 30-day guarantee? Like, come on, gang. The Essential Open earbuds are here to help you crush your New Year goals. Go to buyraycon.com/howtobeatopen to get 20% off site-wide. And thanks to Raycon for sponsoring today's episode. Back to the show. Well, after getting back up the tower, Melissa grabs her binoculars and starts looking all around, but it seems like there's nobody else out there. So she does her morning check-in just like normal, and once that's over, she decides to go for a walk with her headphones in like nothing even happened. Smart. But she ends up coming across a bunch of crushed up beer cans, which leads her to this rusty old animal trap that she hits with a stick. And from there, she spots more of that weird blue slime on a broken branch, which is when she hears a weird noise coming from nearby, and following it, she realizes that it's coming from a speaker at someone's campsite. But the campers are nowhere to be found. And the weirdest thing is, there's a big meteor-sized hole in the side of a tent. Well, that's when this woman pops up right behind her, just kind of staring off into the distance, and after composing herself, Melissa tries asking the lady what's wrong, but she just keeps repeating, "I don't have it," and she won't say anything else. Melissa notices that she's got these crazy burns all over her legs, which means they gotta get this lady to a hospital. But they have to get back to the tower first, and the only way to do that is by walking. So Melissa helps the lady calm down and learns that her name is Conley, and the two of them start hoofing it back towards the post. They make it to the tower without any more trouble, but when they get there, the lady goes straight back to acting all confused. So Melissa runs upstairs to call for help and grab some meds. But she's in such a hurry that she ends up knocking the solar panel straight to the ground. Nice one. After making the call, Melissa runs back down only to find out that Conley just freaking dipped while she was gone. She ends up finding her not too far away, just staring at something in the forest, but Melissa can't see anything out there. So she turns around and leads Conley back to the tower, having no idea that dude Skeeter's been watching their every move. The captain shows up a few minutes later and tells his minions to look after the hiker, but as for Melissa, he starts chewing her out for leaving the post. Furious, he starts going off about how she's not supposed to leave the tower for any reason. So if she was expecting some kind of medal for saving Conley here, I guess she's gonna have to keep waiting. And before he leaves, he tells Melissa to get that solar panel fixed by the end of the day. Okay, this captain is kind of a jerk, I'm not gonna lie, but he has a good point. I mean, Melissa's entire job is to just sit up in that tower and watch for fires, right? Not to go around playing Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? So if that's all this guy wanted from me, then no problem. I would just kick back, get a little tan, maybe read some books for once, and the month would be over before I knew it. or I could just get the platinum trophy in Elden Ring. I'm just saying, I would do it. But seriously, there is definitely something weird about this entire situation, and they're all just brushing over it like it's no big deal. Like, I don't know what this lady was talking about with all that I don't have it kind of shit. That definitely sounds like some kind of cult or mind control type thing. And personally, I'm not about to wait around to find out here. And then we got this weird blue slime showing up on trees. It's not normal. But when the boss showed up, Melissa didn't even say anything about it. Like, what the hell? I mean, I don't really care how mad this dude was. If there's some kind of alien or cult running around out there, then I'm not trying to handle it on my own. So the first thing I would have done is just tell the captain the whole story about the tent and the slime and all that shit. And then maybe he'd actually send someone over there to check it out. Now, from the way this lady was staring into the trees, I think it's safe to say whatever did this is still out there. So there's two strategies that we can take here. Like, first, the thing is obviously looking for somebody or something. So as long as I stay, like, out of the way, then I should be aight. Clearly, the strategy is just to bunker up in the tower like the boss said and keep an eye out for suspicious activities. Like, try to get an idea of what's actually out there and if I even stand a chance of dealing with it or not. Because it might not be that simple. Because you see, that woman kept saying she didn't have it, but that didn't stop her from getting brain melted. So if this thing is looking for it, whatever it is, then maybe I find it first and I'll actually have some kind of advantage. So if it's the way I'm thinking, then head back down to the campsite and start searching the area for some clues, maybe retrace Conley's steps, look for more craters, basically just try to find whatever it's looking for so I can use it as leverage. We think it's 2 steps ahead now. So if this thing is from outer space, then I'm already in over my head. All I know how to do is play baby games and I still have Robux to spend. It's probably just safer to just quit the job and get out of there while I still have the chance. So Melissa heads up and just sits there staring at the solar panel like, damn, how the hell am I supposed to fix this thing? And by now, she's starting to wonder if she might have messed up by even taking this job. She starts meditating again and just kind of drifts off until the next thing she knows, it's 5 o'clock and she's late for check-in. So she hurries over to the radio and makes her call, but lucky for her, it's not the captain this time, and the ranger marks her down as on time just to help her out. So she goes back downstairs to fire up the generator, but as she's going back up, she finds this little pouch that the lady must have dropped. And inside, she sees that it's full of little rocks, including this one strange type that she's never seen before. Later, she grabs a pamphlet and starts matching them up, but strangely enough, the rock doesn't look like anything else on the page. That's when she gets another call from Roy, and at least he actually appreciates what she did to save that hiker. So that does make Melissa feel a little better. Meanwhile, a big storm starts rolling in, and that dude Skeeter finds another strange green rock and decides to put it on his bracelet. Melissa gets to talking about her love for photography, and as usual, Roy's got some dad advice that makes her feel all better. But just when they're about to say goodnight, the power suddenly cuts out. Well, Melissa puts on her headphones to fall asleep with some music, but her phone is dead. And that's when she hears the radio turn itself back on. And as she gets closer, she can hear these faint voices just barely coming through the mic. So she picks up the device and asks if it's Roy, but the radio cuts out as soon as she does, only to turn on again the second she walks away, and someone shouts, "It's mine!" before the radio cuts out for good. And Melissa just sits there feeling worried until she finally falls asleep. The next day, Melissa wakes up early and starts going about her usual routine. This time she decides to wash up in the sink instead, but she's still curious about that woman with the burns. So after doing her morning check-in, she packs a bag full of gear and heads back to the campsite. Now when she does get to the tent, she breaks out her camera and gets a picture of the weird hole in the floor. But then out of nowhere, that dude Ethan just comes strolling up and starts asking what happened. Well, it turns out the dude is camping not too far away, so Melissa asks if he noticed anything strange the night before, and thinking back, he says that he didn't really notice anything besides the storm. But Melissa can't shake the feeling that something about this dude seems off. So as he walks away, she decides to snap a picture of him, just in case. All right, now I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but getting a photo of this dude might be the first smart thing that Melissa's done this entire picture. Honestly, this guy's probably the least of her worries though, but that weird little rock that she found is another story entirely. I mean, we already know that it doesn't match up with anything from her book, and the situation back at the campsite definitely looks like they got hit with the meteor. So when you start putting 2 and 2 together, it's pretty obvious that this little rock must have come from outer freaking space, which means that whatever's out there looking for it must be some kind of alien. If this thing knows that Melissa has the rock, then she's already in trouble here, but there might still be a couple of things that she could do, like maybe just give this thing the rock and call it a day. Like, take it outside and make sure it sees the rock and leave it there, and hopefully it'll just leave me the f*** alone. But we don't know anything about this creature or what's gonna happen if it gets the rock, so maybe that's not a bad idea after all. But if you're gonna hold on to the rock, like keep it on your person, then you're gonna need a way to fight this thing if it shows up. And check game, right? I already got an idea. When this thing started messing with the radio, that actually told us something interesting, because this thing is sensitive to radio waves, and there might be some ways that we could use that against it. I would leave one of the radios or Bluetooth speakers on 24 hours a day, and then anytime that thing gets close, the feedback will basically be like my alarm. I saw it in a movie once, but here's where the plan gets interesting, because Quiet Place or like Spider-Man 3, like how are those aliens so sensitive to sound, huh? We can just use the same trick here. You know what I'm talking about. Like if it showed up, I would use the microphone and speaker to make a loud feedback loop, and hopefully the high frequency noise will hurt this thing or scare it away. And then I can sell this space rock for like what, $5 million and retire, because hell yeah. The rest of the day goes by with pretty much nothing happening, but that night, Melissa tells Roy about the weird guy she met earlier. They start talking about Roy's wife, a psychiatrist who loved painting, and he says they used to visit the park every summer and wanted to retire there one day, but obviously she didn't make it. But Roy says that being out here in the forest helps him still feel like they're connected. This is when Melissa decides to open up about why she took the job. At first, she was hoping it would help her find herself, but now she realizes that she was just running from real life. So late in the middle of the night, Melissa wakes up with something on her mind, and looking back through the photos on her camera, she decides that she wants to keep checking it out. So now we're on day 4, which is the same day where we first started. And as soon as she's done with her check-in, she goes back down to do some more exploring. But that dude Ethan is still out there as well. And oddly enough, it seems like he is looking for something. So Melissa's just out there walking through the forest when she hears those strange noises coming from somewhere behind her. And as they start getting louder, she decides that she better run for it. But she doesn't make it far before she accidentally steps right into another trap, and it suddenly snaps shut right on her ankle. Horrified, she starts trying to escape, but it is way too painful. And that's when Ethan just happens to show up and helps her get out of it. Now, for a minute, it seems like she was wrong about this dude, but then he slips up and says they should go back to her tower, and since Melissa never told him about the tower, she can tell right away that something is fishy. At first, he tries to play it off and starts gaslighting her like, maybe it was just a lucky guess, but nah, Melissa's not going for it. And realizing that he's caught, he just drops the act and starts pressing her all creepy-like. So Melissa whips out her bear spray, and after giving him a chance to back off, she ends up blasting him straight in the eyes. But this dude just tanks the damage like it's nothing and snatches the can right out of her hands. Alright, this dude Ethan's like a way bigger problem than I thought. He just ate a direct blast of bear spray like he was doing the one chip challenge. And in case you don't know, bear spray is basically like regular pepper spray, but on freaking steroids. It makes your eyes, skin, and lungs all feel like they're on fire. And it's supposed to be strong enough to stop a grizzly in its tracks, okay? Like the fact that Ethan just beasted it tells us that this dude has a serious problem. And that's bad news for our girl Melissa, because she just popped her ultimate and it didn't even work. Like now I would say it's time to dip. The job. But she can't do that either because she already screwed up her ankle by stepping into that trap. Dope! It's just another reason why Melissa should have never taken the job in the first place though, because an actual park ranger would know that running from weird noises is like the last thing you should do. Because in the wild, predators like bears, wolves, and mountain lions, they got the prey drive. So if you start running, it makes it look like you're an easy kill, right? We know this. Animals aren't the only danger in the woods though. You could run off a cliff, you could hit your head on a tree, or you could step into a trap like what happened here. So a ranger who was actually good at their job would have never ended up in this situation in the first place. But now that her ankle is busted and running away from this guy is not really an option, it looks like her only choice is to fight. It's not going to be easy though, but even if this dude doesn't feel pain, he still has a regular human body, so if it was me, I would pick up a rock or a branch or something and just start fucking him up. Like his eyes are a legit target, and if he can't see me, then he can't chase me. But otherwise, I'm aiming for his knees, ankles, or his head, because if I break one of his legs or just straight up knock him out, then I should be getting away from this engagement pretty easily. And then I'll just head for the tower and call for backup on a little radio, and hopefully they'd be there before he came back for a rematch. Well, whatever's going on with this dude Ethan, it looks like Melissa is actually in trouble. But just when it seems like there's nothing she can do, that hunter Dale and his friend Buck show up to save the day. Now, it seems like they already met Ethan sometime earlier, and Dale tells his buddy to just blast him if he gets too close. But while Dale and Melissa are running for the truck, Ethan just starts getting closer and closer. And by the time Buck finally lets one off, he completely misses the shot. Which is when this dude Ethan just lifts him off the ground one-handed as Buck yells out, "Run!" in the goofiest way imaginable. imaginable. And after reaching into his pocket and finding the space rock, Ethan just snaps this dude's neck and tosses him to the ground. Yeah, the shit's really going down now. And the others make it to the truck and jump inside, but Ethan's already right on top of them. And as they try to speed off, he just grabs the door and starts holding them in place. They can't move no matter how hard they try, so Melissa reaches into the back seat and grabs a crossbow. And that's finally enough to make Ethan let go, but he's not about to let them get away so easily. So the two of them go speeding through the forest at over 20 miles per hour. No rush, I guess, until they end up back at the campsite from the very beginning, and that's when they find Skeeter all tied up to a tree. And Dale runs out to get him while Melissa stays back in the truck. Melissa spots Ethan heading their way, but she can't start the truck because Dale has the keys. Now, next thing she knows, Ethan's already right next to her, and all she can do is flip him off as he rips the entire door off and he gets ready to grab her. But that's when Dale runs over and starts whooping this dude's ass. Ethan takes him to the ground, and in the scuffle, Dale manages to rip off his bracelet and throw it away. And while Ethan goes chasing after it, he grabs a rope and starts choking this dude out. Meanwhile, Skeeter pops up next to the Ranger and starts trying to cover Dale with the crossbow, but he can't seem to get a clear shot. This is when Ethan gets back on his feet, so Dale whips out a knife and starts fighting him off. But Ethan catches him slipping and ends up murking him with his own blade. This has been an absolute train wreck since the minute these dudes showed up. Looks like Ethan's about to clutch the 4v1. I just gotta say one thing. Dale and the boys, you f***ed up. Like, all right, I'll admit I was wrong about you guys before, but if I knew you were also trash at PvP, I would have never been worried in the first place. Like, let's start with this dude Buck here, because Buddy just got absolutely massacred in the 1v1 and it wasn't even close. Like, first of all, why are we leaving the Infinity Stone with the dude who's gonna stay back and fight? I mean, the whole point is to stop Ethan from getting the stone, right? So maybe that wasn't the best idea. I'm just saying. It actually gets worse when you realize this dude had no idea how to even use a bow. I mean, I'm not exactly Hawkeye over here either, but still, I know you're supposed to pinch the string, pull the shit back, and let that motherfucker fly. And it's honestly not this surprising that he had such shitty aim as well. Like they used to say, Stevie Wonder could have made that shoot the first try, but you just stood there and let this dude hit you with the Mortal Kombat finisher, yo? The fatality? Come on, G. Dale actually pulled a pretty clutch move when he took away Ethan's magical rock. But why not leave the keys in the freaking truck? And what about the bows they just had like 2 seconds ago? What happened with that? You telling me you could have just blasted this dude, but instead you decided to get in a fist fight with him after you saw him like stop a 5,000-pound truck like it was nothing? Like how fucking dumb could you be? You guys had this dude outnumbered 3-1 with bows, and that was before he even reached full power. So if you couldn't clutch up here, then I honestly don't know what to tell you. Let's talk about Melissa though, because if I was Melissa right here, I would just use a Skeeter as a meat shield and then grab the keys out of Dale's pocket and dip the out of there. But as for these two, you f***ed up, fellas. Now, realizing this dude is no joke, Melissa decides to run for it, and she ends up taking cover inside the camper. But Ethan already knows exactly where she's hiding, and he starts strolling over there all confident that she can't get away. Thinking fast, she slips out to the other side before he can reach her, but instead of going for the other tent like he thinks, she gets up and starts running back through the forest. He's about to go after her, but that's when Skeeter shows up and is all like, "Face me instead!" And he shouts at Melissa to keep running as he aims his crossbow and gets ready to fire. But Ethan just stands there, daring him to take the shot. And that's when this dude straight up catches the shit out of it midair and freaking Swiss cheeses Skeeter with his own arrow. Terrified, Melissa tries to run, but Ethan just teleports right behind her, so she picks up this huge branch and gets ready to fight him off. But he keeps coming at her like he's not even worried, and he starts saying that Melissa has something that he wants. But the Ranger still has no idea what the hell he's talking about. She takes a few lame swings in his direction, but the dude just grabs the branch with one hand. That's when she notices the weird little space rock on his wrist, and now it's all starting to make sense, because the rocks must be where he gets his power, and he's out there trying to find them all on some Thanos type shit. So grabbing her hair, he starts dragging Melissa back towards the tower, but she grabs a rock and uses it to knock the stone out of his bracelet. And while he's weak, she clobbers him over the head and makes another break for it. But Ethan just gets up and keeps chasing after her. She's not moving very fast thanks to her ankle, but without the rock, Ethan's not doing so good either. So she makes it to the tower before he catches up. Now running upstairs, she goes straight for the space rock and hides it in one of the buckets before grabbing an axe and getting ready to smoke Ethan as soon as he walks through the door. But just then, she hears someone coming up the stairs, and when she's about to attack, she realizes that it's just some random dude. It turns out it's actually her buddy Roy, like from the radio flirting and all that, and it looks like he's there to save the day. But that's when Ethan shows up and just tosses the poor guy straight over the ledge. Damn, son. Roy, I guess it was nice knowing you, buddy, but it turned out that being friends with Melissa was his biggest mistake. Melissa obviously wasn't using her head here because she knew that Ethan's entire goal was to get the rock from the tower, right? So why the hell would you run back to the tower if that's exactly where he's going? I mean, I got questions. I get that she wanted to call for help and everything, but like I said before, I would have just grabbed the keys out of Dale's pocket and dipped in the truck. Then I'd be chilling at home while the men in black handled this joint instead. I mean, now that she's back at the tower, I do have a few ideas that she could try. I mean, first of all, I would have just pushed something heavy over the hatch or tied it off with some rope as soon as I got up there, because remember, Ethan doesn't have powers without the rock. So that should be enough to slow him down. But here's where the plan gets good, because if the rock gives Ethan super strength, then maybe it can work the same way with Melissa. I mean, I would grab the space rock and put it on my wrist just like Ethan's been doing the entire time here. And who knows, maybe it'll give me super strength too. And then working him with this axe should be easy. So Roy just goes plummeting 50 feet to the ground while Ethan storms in, but instead of attacking Melissa, he just goes straight to looking for the space rock. So while he's distracted, Melissa checks on Roy to see that he is not doing good. But that's when she gets an idea. Running back inside, she gets Ethan's attention and throws one of the normal rocks off the balcony, and taking the bait, Ethan takes off running back downstairs. Melissa picks up the axe and starts chasing after him, but she runs straight over to Roy first. And somehow this dude is still alive even though he's pretty messed up. Well, it doesn't take Ethan long to realize that he got punked, and frustrated, he starts flipping out on Melissa for tricking him. By now, he's done playing games, so he starts walking over there to end this once and for all, but just when he gets close enough, Melissa suddenly jumps with the axe and chops him straight in the neck. Shocked, Ethan tries to hold on, but he finally collapses. Melissa is a little shaken up after catching her first body, but at least now it's over. Right? Nah. Because as soon as Melissa lets her guard down, the alien jumps out of Ethan and goes straight into Roy. Turning around, she's horrified to see Roy coming after her like some kind of zombie, but his body's all broken from the fall, so it's easy enough for her to get up and run straight past. She goes over to the UTV and grabs the radio to call for help, but the alien's voice starts coming through instead, shouting at her to just give up and hand over the rock. It looks like this thing is not gonna stop, which means she might have to do her buddy Roy like she just did Ethan. So Melissa grabs a tire iron and gets ready to defend herself. But just when she's about to start giving this guy a beatdown, the dude suddenly coughs up the alien and goes back to normal. And relieved that her friend is alright, Melissa says that she's gonna get some help. So Melissa heads back to the tower and slowly drags herself all the way to the top, but guess what? The radio is now dead. And she flips out and throws the whole power bank straight over the edge. So it's all the way back down to fire up the generator again. But she gets it done. And sometime later, the captain finally pulls up on the scene. He finds Melissa just sitting there, staring into the distance. But this time, he's actually nice. And he helps her back over to the whip while Billy gets out to look around. But while they're distracted, Billy ends up finding that little puddle of alien slime, and he makes the mistake of touching it to find out what it is. After getting Melissa settled in, the captain goes back up to grab her things before they leave, with Melissa out of commission. It looks like Billy is going to have to cover her spot. So after making sure that he's good, the captain leaves him at the tower until they can find someone else to take over. So it looks like a happy ending for Melissa, right? But as soon as they're gone, Billy goes straight over to the bucket and grabs the little space rock. And as he holds it up, we see that same blue slime coming out of his nose. So it looks like the alien got what it wanted after all. And if there's one important lesson we can all learn here, it's that mysterious puddles of slime are never your friend. Look out 2025, and y'all need to be on the lookout for this movie, man. It was shot really well, acting was cool, and it's just like, I don't know, it might be an instant classic. How many movies do you really see the Firewatch Tower scenario? Look out for this movie on digital now. Anyways, if you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe, and check out that How to Beat playlist for more videos just like this one. Oh, and yeah, let me know in the comments if you would have done anything differently. As usual, I'm Ben. We'll see you in the next video, and have a damn good day.